Hello.
Hi, Sid. How you doing?
Good, man. Sorry for last week. I don't know what was happening with our connection, but hopefully we have a great connection. And yeah, let's get down to the cricket here. Australia won this, I mean, India won the series 2-1. Akshar Patel was the man of the series. He did a really great job. And what were your thoughts on that series?
Yeah, I thought they were pretty impressive in that third T20 in chasing that score down, and I think the better of the series, and I'd say the better for India this year in T20 cricket has got to be Surya. I mean, he's been superb this year in T20 cricket, and we just saw his good form continuing in that game. But I mean, 187, it's always a tricky target, hey, but.
Hmm.
I think India looked in control for large parts of the chase. I mean I expected them to knock it off much earlier, but I think it got a little bit tight there in the end, a little bit too close for comfort. But yeah, I think they deserve to win because they came back quite well with the ball
Hmm.
in Australia's innings, because Australia were actually going to run away with it, and it was probably looking at one stage that they could have been chasing 200 plus, but they obviously got it down to 187. Fantastic last final over by Hashar, and yeah, Surya is been he's been really impressive this year, especially with the bat. I mean, we saw it in the home series, and obviously in the UK as well. I mean, that fantastic century he scored in that T20 against England. So he's a player for all conditions. And you just can't say he's a flat track bully. He's only doing it at home. He's doing it all over
Hmm.
the world.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
mean, this guy
Hmm.
is really a standout for this Indian team. I think a few Indian players like the likes of Rohit, maybe not in the best of nick at the moment, in terms of consistency.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's the guy he's the guy that's really being a standout player for them, and he's having a fantastic 2022. Um, yeah. I thought they were the better team in that series.
Yeah, nothing like India beating Australia. So we get to England and Pakistan. This is quite of a humdinger year. 3-all. Tomorrow will be the decider. And as looks like my prediction is looking good so far. I did predict Pakistan will win this 4-3. It's looking like it, hopefully. And yeah, it looks like Rizwan has really been the mainstay for Pakistan. He's been scoring so many runs. What are your thoughts, eh?
What are my thoughts? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be this close. England should have won the series by now. And yeah, it's. I mean, if I look at the games, there've been some low-scoring games, and you wonder to yourself how England have actually been on the losing end of some of those chases. Because I mean, yesterday they chased down a total of 160, 170 with
Yeah, yeah,
consummate
yesterday,
ease.
yeah.
And in the
Hmm.
fifth and fourth game, they really battle to chase. I mean, we'd say below par totals. Yeah, I'd say below par totals of 145, and I mean 160 probably a par, but I mean they were looking good in that game as well. So I mean, if I look at the balance of play, England have been the better side in the series so far. I mean, we certainly should not be going to a decider. I think England would be kicking themselves in especially that fourth and fifth game. How they managed to lose those games. I mean, if you look at the highlights, uh,
Yeah.
it really defies belief how they managed to actually lose those games in winning positions. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's been a series of real inconsistencies from both teams. Batting, bowling wise. I think uh, we haven't seen a complete performance, back to back
Hmm.
from either side. That's something we probably would might get in that final game, because it's I mean it's all to play for in that final match. The pitches really haven't been, I wouldn't say, look, some of those pitches have been a bit average for me. They've been a bit. Hasn't been a pitch where you've had that extravagant stroke play. They've been pitches where the ball has really stopped on the wicket, and it's been for the batters to time. I think the fifth T20 was a prime example, because England really battled to score, chase down a very low total. But they didn't get. So, no excuses. You got to chase that down. Excuses.
Yeah, you just got to apply common sense. Yeah, you just got to apply some common sense. Don't have to hit every ball for 6. You got to hit 2s, 1s, odd boundaries. Yeah, you could have done it. But anyway, it is what it is.
I really think that they got caught up in two minds. They were probably in two minds there. Whether to go hard in the power play or preserve wickets. I think the most important thing in the power play, you cannot lose more than 2 wickets. I think maximum 2 wickets. Because if you lose about 3 or 4 in the power play, you're really putting yourself in for innings. So this is something that you've got to look at as a chasing side. And even if they were set piece for no loss after the power play, that's okay. They still got 10 wickets in hand, and they can still, they got enough time to chase that score. In the last 4, 10 and over is absolutely nothing in T20 cricket. It can be chased down quite easily. So I think the problem with them is they lost 20 wickets in the power play. Some of those wickets were really gifted wickets, I would say, to Pakistan. A lot of those wickets were gifted, and this is where they find themselves in the situation. 3-all now, and all to play for in that final match. And to me, these sides are quite evenly matched, in terms of how they play so far, the inconsistencies. Albeit this is not the strongest England side, If I look at those players that they brought to Pakistan, doesn't seem to be the strongest English side. Yeah. And they could have easily been 4-2 up in the series, which is a bit crazy to say, but they could have easily been 4-2 up in the series. But anyways, we're expecting a real humdinger of a game, final game, of the series. But it's been quite a long, really series. 7 T20s. So see what happens. Should be a cracker.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? But I guess for Pakistan, every win they get is important, because they already played in cricket, I think. So I think if they can win the series, it'll be very good confidence. Even on pitches they may not get in Australia, but I think it'll probably work for their advantage. I think any Pakistan side that's confident, but as long as there's not too much pressure on them, even though I do think they are one of the favorites going into this T20 World Cup. Not big favorites, but maybe top 5 favorites. What do you think?
I've got a bit of an issue when it comes to Pakistan. I think they very, very reliant on their top 2. The Babar Azam and Rizwan. I think the middle order is a bit brittle. So if you look at this, at the series, so I really count them as one of the favorites at the moment. I think they've got to get their batting right. In terms of batting, their middle order is huge.
I would say top 5.
Yeah, probably.
The
middle order is a major concern for them, and we saw it in the series. If they go 4 down or 5 down, they can easily get bowled out. So I think that's a concern for them. I think their bowling has been quite impressive in the series, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah, their bowling has helped them out a lot. Yeah.
They've got a pretty decent bowling attack. I think the one thing that they probably is a bit of a weak thing for them is probably their spin. Maybe teams can attack that part, but their quicks have been quite impressive in the series, But I think this Pakistan side, if they're going to be chasing totals of 200 plus in the World Cup, that could be a bit tricky for them in terms of that, because I'm not sure if they have the batting personnel to actually chase those kind of totals down, those 190, 200 totals, because you've got to have a very, very good, solid batting lineup. So I would say their weak department at the moment is batting, and the middle order is a real concern, because Rizwan and Babar, especially Rizwan. Rizwan has really been carrying the side. So, I mean, if you get Rizwan out and you get Babar out, who's going to come in and do the, the rescue act there? Because there's a lot of players, I feel, that come in and just want to smash it around, smash it out of the park. They don't really have an understanding of how to really construct an inning. So I think they've got to tighten up. But I think their bowling will always make them a dangerous side. You can't take them lightly because of their bowling. Their bowling is something that can keep them in the game and actually win their games as well.
Okay, so let's get to South Africa and India. I know you must have been like puking watching the first T20. India won by 8 wickets. But it was quite an interesting one, because it was a bit of a spicy, meaty ball type of pitch. So I think hopefully the next 2 pitches are much more fairer than the first one. What are your thoughts?
I was actually pissed. I was really, really pissed watching this. I mean, I watched this live, and I mean, this is when you're talking about power plays. I mean, this is power plays at its worst in terms of what you don't want. And I mean, this Protea top order is actually blown away. They're actually blown away, and concern at the moment is, I mean, if I looked at the side starting that game, it wasn't a bad side. If you look at the side, I mean, you had batting right down to number 7, which with likes of Parnell as playing as an all-rounder, and then you had the top 6. My problem is whenever the ball is swinging, and we saw it in England as well, there seems to be a problem. Facing that swinging delivery. Batsmen, they just cannot cope. And we saw it in this game as well. This is international cricket. This is international cricket. I mean, you're not going to get a pitch that's going to be a belter that you can score 200 plus on, against mediocre bowling attack. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it all your way. You are not going to get it all your way international cricket. You are going to get these sort of pitches. You are going to get these sort of quality swing bowlers. And mind you, India bowled fantastically in that power play. We're going to get this international cricket, and until they sort this out in terms of how they actually want to approach this, because as you saw it was duck after duck. Every batsman that came in tried to play the same way. They tried to go big. They lost wickets. I mean, there was nobody sitting down and trying to adjust. I think that Bavuma is probably, if you look at it, that should have sent alarm bells, in the dressing room, saying, guys, we just gotta calm down here, and we just gotta play the situation, get ourselves in. Even if we 35 for 1 after the power play, fine, we can catch up. And I think if the Proteas were 35 for 1 after the power play, they probably would have made 140 or 150, and they would have probably challenged India quite deep in that game, because it was quite a tricky pitch, as you said. Another concern for me, I mean, de Kock, Sid, we've been talking about this for a very long time. I mean, how many times has he been losing his wicket with that sort of shot? When the ball is swinging, he plays away from his body and he plays it onto his stumps. You gotta start having these conversations, because you got the highest run scorer that's on the bench, Reza Hendricks. I mean, what is going on here? There has to be a way to accommodate a guy like Reza in the side. Even if it means you're dropping somebody to accommodate him, because he's the highest run scorer not just in T20 cricket this year. I mean, if you look at that series of England, I mean, he was the highest run scorer, and it was one of the reasons why they actually won the series in England, because of him. But we're going back. I feel we're taking a step back now with what we're doing here. We're not picking players on form again. Obviously Bavuma back in the side, but I think this discussion with de Kock really needs to be taken quite seriously now, because you've got Klaasen on the bench as well. Klaasen can keep wicket. Why not put him in? I mean, you've got to have a conversation with de Kock. I mean, the thing is, there's a few players in the side, that feel that their positions are always going to be, is always going to be cemented, and they don't have the fear of being dropped. And I think this needs to stop now. You're talking about being an X factor player and so forth, but we're looking for players that can score runs. Okay. Runs are really, really important. And what has de Kock done this year in T20 cricket? What has he done? He hasn't done anything for the program. So it's time that they need to make these decisions, even if it means you're putting someone else high up the order, probably starting with Klaasen and Bavuma, putting Riza down at number 3, but you got to get this guy into the side. He's the top run scorer in T20 cricket for the Proteas this year. So, these conversations have got to start. It's becoming really, really frustrating watching de Kock, the way he's performing this year. And, you really can't go on like this. You really can't go on like this, because let me tell you something right now. If we are to encounter a pitch like that in the World Cup, and we got Bavuma and de Kock opening, we are going to be in the situation more often than not. We are going to be in this exact same situation where we're going to be 3 or 4 down in the power play, and it's game over. It's game over. So selectors really, really need to look at this de Kock issue, because it's really, really becoming absurd now.
Yeah. But I think if there's any consolation, I don't think SA can play any worse, and I don't think we'll ever have such a spicy pitch for the next one. Even I don't think India would have been too happy with that one. But I think tomorrow they're playing, so if it makes you feel better, I think SA will win tomorrow, and I think we'll go into a decider, which will be on Tuesday.
I just want to say something. I mean, if you're going to get a flat belter pitch tomorrow, and the Proteas go and score 200 plus. Doesn't that feel like it's papering over the cracks? It's kind of papering over the cracks, because the side is battling when it comes to swinging positions. Like the swinging ball.
But that pitch was a bit too much for the bowler there. So I wouldn't want to. And I wouldn't want to crucify the batsman too much on that pitch, because even the Indian batsmen had struggled at the beginning. I mean, even the great Kohli went out early, and then I think Rohit Sharma also went out early, and I think KL Rahul had a really battle for those runs. Even that 50 wasn't the quickest in the world. Only Surya Kumar made it look like on another surface, but besides that, everyone battled. So I think.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying totally. But I mean, if you look at KL Rahul's innings, KL Rahul was patient. And that's what you needed on that pitch. You need patience. I mean, everybody can talk about KL Rahul getting very, very slow. But I thought it was a good innings, because he stuck in there. It was difficult for him, but he stuck in there and he got the job done. I mean, Surya, obviously, he's been the part of his life, and he's come in and played all these shots. But I think by KL Rahul sticking around, it took a lot of pressure off Surya, because there was one end where, he was chipping away, and then Surya was obviously taking the risk. But I thought it was a very good innings from KL Rahul, and he showed the South African batsmen how to play on that wicket. I mean, it was a challenging wicket, but you had to dig in, and there's not a single Protea batsman apart from Keshav, and I'd say Markram was unlucky there, to be given out just clipping the bails, but I thought he looked pretty good. In 50-50. Application, and Keshav showed, coming in at number 8, that you can score runs on this wicket. You can score runs. And there was nobody that actually wanted to play the patient game there. So, end of the day, it just was too, it was too few on the board to actually, make a game of. But I think the bowling from Rabada and Nokia up front was pretty impressive. And Parnell as well. Parnell swept the ball quite prodigiously. And
sorry, I couldn't hear you. What?
Parnell bowled quite well in the power play as well. He shot the ball quite prodigiously, and he could have got the likes of KL Rahul out. So I thought the new ball was quite good, but I mean, thereafter it wasn't really good. Watch it.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you there. I think your voice was breaking there.
Yeah, I was saying the power play bowling was quite good from the Proteas, but I think as soon as Surya came in and KL got a bit of confidence in the wicket. I mean, the writing was on the wall. By then, I think a score that that a guy like Shamsi could have actually came into the game as well as a spinner. It was just I mean, for him to defend. So, I mean, the batsmen have got to take responsibility for this defeat, and they've got to come back quite hard in that second game. So, yeah, hoping for a better pitch, but also hoping for a better batting performance. I mean, this was downright pathetic, sir.
Yeah, I don't think they can bat any worse. There's only one way from being bottom is up. So I think I'm expecting us to win tomorrow, and that's my prediction. I don't think although I'll be very surprised if India finish it off tomorrow, but I think we'll win tomorrow. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think we're just looking for an improved batting performance. The improved batting because we have the bowlers. The Proteas have a bowling attack that can compete. I think we're just looking for an improved batting performance. I think we'll
bat a lot better.
Like a guy like De Kock is due runs. A guy like Bavuma as well. Bavuma being a captain, he's got to step up. He's got to score runs. He's got to score runs because I mean, if he doesn't score runs, how else is he going to play? I mean, you just can't get into a team as a captain. You've got to score runs as well. So, I mean, we all know he's a good leader. He's a good leader. He knows how to lead. But, you know, you've got to start scoring runs. And I think the De Kock question, you know, if it's another failure, you've got to start having this conversation about De Kock. Because there's quite a few wicket keepers that are waiting in the wings that can keep wicket and can bat as well.
Yeah. Okay, before we wrap off, I've been reading that Bumrah is out of the T20 World Cup with the back injury, and now if you add Ravindra Jadeja out of that, I think India's chance of now winning this T20 World Cup is questionable. I think it makes it probably a bit more, I'm not saying India can't win it, but I think it makes it a bit more difficult. I think it probably makes it much more open, along with England, Australia, Pakistan, and who else is there? Oh yeah, you could say New Zealand, but they're more like underdogs. And then, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I know Ravi Jadeja is probably out, but I was just reading an article before I came on air now about Bumrah. So Ganguly, the BCCI, I think they're going to have a second opinion on Bumrah. And he hasn't been ruled out the World Cup completely. I think they're just waiting on that second opinion from you know, the medical staff. Want to try and keep fit for that, you know, that opening game, obviously. So it's not out completely, but you know, there is a possibility that he could play in that World Cup. So there is a possibility that he could play in that World Cup, judging by what I read in that.
Well, I hope. I hope he does play. I mean, India does need him.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He's such a wicket taker. But I mean, a guy like Harshdeep, I mean, he could really come into the mix.
Great.
Because I mean, what I saw from him was absolutely sensational. Young, and India didn't have a lot of caps in that team. That bowling attack looked pretty inexperienced. If you look at it, I mean, Deepak Chahar and Ashdeep, and I mean, you know, as well. Obviously, he got a few Indian backs as well, but he looked pretty inexperienced, and they did quite well on that wicket. I think the most experienced of them was Ravi Ashwin, obviously, and also I think Ashdeep is going to give the selectors a bit of a headache. In terms of getting a first team start, because he was pretty impressive with that swing, with that swinging, you know. In the power play, he was really impressive, and deservedly man of the match.
Just trying to see something here. I just came across another headline where Hazelwood is expecting the Australian pitches to be favoring the bowlers. If that's the case, that'll be really fun to watch. But I don't know. I think Australian pitches seem to be a lot more fairer than some pitches I see around the world, you know. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Australian pitches are probably some of the best when it comes to batting and hitting through the line. You do get value for your shots in Australia. I think that's the one good thing. You do get value for your shots. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting World Cup. Yeah, I think we're going to get some good scores there. And yeah, there is going to be some assistance for the bowlers, but I think the spinners are also going to come into the force. And I'll tell you why, because the grounds are quite big, and there's a huge chance that you're going to get a lot of wickets that are going to be caught on the long on boundary, and so yeah, I mean, it's going to be really really exciting. And I think when we know who's qualified, especially after the preliminary phase and stuff, and we kind of gauge who's who in the groups. We're going to have a really really good idea as to who can actually get all of those groups. But I mean, obviously, there's a few sides that actually stand out at the moment in terms of actually doing well. But I think that's a conversation for another day. As we said.
Oh, sorry, you were breaking up there. I couldn't get the last few lines that you were saying.
Yeah, I think we'll have a clearer picture after the preliminary phase of the qualifying for the World Cup, and we got all the teams in either group, and then we can gauge. But looking by what I'm seeing so far, both groups are really really difficult groups to get out of. You've really got to play your best cricket to get out of either group, because I mean, if you look at Group A, you've already got England, Australia, New Zealand, you've got Afghanistan. I mean, wow. Good luck to any of those teams trying to get out of that group. And then Group B, you've got you've got Pakistan, India, South Africa, and you've got Bangladesh, which is also another tricky group. So I mean, wow. All the best trying to get predictions out of that. You could easily get Sri Lanka or West Indies in either of those groups as well. So that could add another dimension to it and makes it much more difficult as well. So every game essentially is a must win. Every single game is a must win, essentially, in that World Cup. So it doesn't get tougher than that. It isn't.
Yeah, I was actually just reading more about Hazelwood. He said that it's better for the bowlers in Australia because he said that the outfields are bigger, the wickets have a bit more pace. You can use those boundaries to your advantage and stuff like that. So, which is true. I mean, Australia, you do have those advantages. So, I think it'll be a lot better than the UAE, that's for sure. So, hoping for a much better, closer World Cup, and hopefully toss doesn't play such a factor. That's for sure.
Absolutely, I think. I think the UAE was really really too predictable, especially in Dubai. Win the toss, bowl first, chase down. I mean, we've seen so many games won that way, and it was an element of predictability. Like you said, you make a good point there. It was quite predictable. One of the most predictable World Cups, I would say. Whoever won the toss actually went on to win the game, chasing. So yeah, I'm hoping for a little bit more unpredictability in this World Cup.
I'm sure
we need some unpredictability. That's what makes it exciting. And yeah, I mean, few weeks to go, and I think now it's all about fine tuning, getting your spots right. And these next few T20 games are really crucial in getting the balance right, and then you head straight to the World Cup.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty much a wrap, unless you got any final words.
I'm just hoping for a better performance tomorrow, sir. Really, really hoping for a better batting performance, because the first one was really difficult to watch. It's really mediocre.
Now, I think that's a bit of I think SA will write that off as a bad dream and perform better tomorrow. I think that's what most teams do. After they get blown away, they just focus on the next one.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, man.
Cheers, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too.